right, want to welcome everybody to our February meeting of the New York Browning Society. Glad everybody made it out. We have a really special program lined up for us today. We have joining us students from Xavier High School and also Gramercy Arts High School who will be performing their own original poetry and poetry inspired by the Brownings. We have quite the lineup this year, so we're really excited. We also have Maxim Kurjansky who will be recording you guys, and it will be available on our new website that's going to be released in the next week or so. So you'll be able to find your performances online and have a memory of this occasion. So we look forward to hearing everyone's work. We also want to thank some of the teachers, Mark Gonzalez, Jill Silverstein, for bringing out our kids. Let's just give a round of applause, everybody, for everybody coming out. Looks like a great group. So we had one person that was really specific on wanting to go first, and I always like that about people that are ready to go first. So how about, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome up our first student from the Gramercy Arts High School, Charlie Bird Torres.
Okay, I'll be reading a poem by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. It's called How Do I Love Thee? How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depths and breadth and height my soul can reach. When feeling out of sight, for the ends of being the ideal grace, I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need. By sun and candlelight, I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saint. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life, and if God chose, I shall love thee better after death.
All right, and afterwards we're going to have an opportunity to talk with you guys and see exactly what inspired you to pick each poem. So that's usually a lot of fun. Let's keep this going. You know what? I'm going to say, can we bring up Sean Bixlar next? Ladies and gentlemen, Sean.
We're reading a poem called When Pompeii Was Destroyed. So, it was 79 BC when I lived in Pompeii. Okay, sorry. Yes, I'm sorry about this. Man.
Don't worry. It's okay. Just right into it, okay?
Okay. It was 79 BC when I lived in Pompeii, right before our great volcano had slept. I had come from America, but in Italy I wanted to stay, until the great Mount Vesuvius. Silence was not kept. It was an eruption like never before, lava and ashes. I'm sorry about this. Lava and ashes pouring out when earth had made her great roar. The people ran for cover, for they feared it may be their last breath, while buildings toppled over to the great sound. But Vesuvius, she was strong, and to all had come death, until every person, building, and bit of nature was burnt to the ground. This eruption of all had made me most paranoid. The time when the great city of Pompeii was destroyed.
Thank you, Sean. All right. So let's change it up a bit. Let's get one of our Xavier students. Matt Dubois, you ready to read? Let's give a round of applause for Matthew Dubois.
I'm going to be reading two poems, one by myself, the one by Elizabeth Barrett Browning, called Patience Taught by Nature, and then another by myself, inspired by. O dreary life, we cry, O dreary life, and still the generations of birds sing through our sighing, and the flocks and herds Serenely live while we are keeping strife with heaven's true purpose in us. As a knife, against which we may struggle, ocean grids unslacken the dry land, savannah swards, unweary sweep, hills watch, unworn and rife. Meek leaves drop yearly from the forest trees, to show above the unwasted stars that pass. In their old glory, O God, O thou God of old, grant me some smaller grace than comes to these, but so much patience as a blade of grass grows by contented through the heat and cold. Now I have a second poem inspired by that one I wrote myself called Existential. There were no clouds, just stars and galaxies that lit up the night sky, a mural of colors, faint blues, purples, and greens, swirled and floated together. The horizon was endless, pockmarked by plateaus and hills. The gray sand mixed with the dry desert shrubs. A lone road traveled through the land. One could feel the cold air rush past. The night's lights reveal the rising speedometer, 40, 50, 60, 70. That beautiful existential dread excites and terrifies. We can see the mountains of water crushing continents, stars as they explode and collapse solar systems into beautiful balls of light. Here we drive, here we watch, a spectator, a witness to nature.
All right, thank you, Matthew. So, let's just, I'm just randomly going with these guys. So let's do, Ginny, are you prepared to get up and read? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Ginny Segura.
Okay, I'm gonna be reading a poem called The Mask. Behind no prison gate, she said, which flares the sunshine half a mile. Live captive, so uncomforted, as souls behind a smile. God's pity, let us pray, she said. I know my face is bright, she said. Such brightness dying suns diffuse, I bear upon my forehead shed. The sign of what I lose, the ending of my day, she said.
All right, thank you, Ginny. So, let's see. How about, let's go with Ariel. Would you like to read? Yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Ariel Everett.
Alright, so I'm reading my own poem. I made this myself. It's called Death. In the dark, a girl cries and no one hears. She screams and cries and bleeds all over. The lines on her arms come more and more, not healing but helping. Death crosses her mind. She wonders if she dies, what will happen, if she will be missed. She said, "No, I will not." More lines appear. Her phone is blowing up. People in her school are sending her things such as "Go kill yourself," "Nobody likes you," or "You smell bad." Kids are making her feel like she's nothing.
All right, let's see here. Thank you very much, Ariel. Let's go to Satu. Is that all right? Can we go with Satu? All right, Satu Mabai. Thank you. Batu. Sorry.
I will be reading two poems. One is called Love and the other one is called The Mask by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I see red in your heart and cheek. I see sparkle in your eyes and sigh. I know I had met you before. You know too, and our hearts soar. Let's run away together and start forever. This is the second poem called Mask. I have a smiling face, she said. I have a jest for all I meet. I have a grand land for my head, and its flowers are sweet. And so you call me gay, she said. Grief taught me to be Grief taught me this smile, she said, and wrong did teeth the jesting bold. These flowers were plucked from garden bed, while a deaf chime was told. And what now will you say? She said.
All right, thank you very much. So, let's get another from Xavier. Michael, you ready? Let's give a warm round of applause for Michael Petrosino.
I will be reciting two poems today, one by Robert Browning, Life in a Love, and the other by myself. Escape me? Never. Beloved, well, I am I and you are you, so long as the world contains us both. Me the loving and you the loath. While the one eludes, one must the other pursue. My life is a fault at last, I fear. It seems too much like a fate, indeed. Though I do my best, I shall scarce succeed. But what if I fail of my purpose here? It is but to keep the nerves at strain, to dry one's eyes and laugh at a fall, and baffled, to get up and begin again. So the chase takes up one's life, that's all. Well, look, but once from your farthest bound, at me so deep in the dust and dark, no sooner the old hope goes to ground, than a new one, straight to the self-same mark. I shape me, ever removed. The title of my poem is A Life Not Forgotten. I still see your soft face often, still hear your smooth, cozy stories. Your advice still lingers strongly in my head. The wisdom you shed will never leave me. I still believe you were robbed from us too early, still had time left to love each and every one of us. But then I see you there on that bed, lying with the grace that enriched our lives, and I accept that your time had to come. I will forever cherish the love that you gave us, forever remembering your loving smile. You cared for us with so much love, deeds that we cannot imagine to repay, especially the ones too young to be able to. You are the model of the virtuous man for me. I cannot fathom there being a better person in this world, except those who have learned from you as well. Each day I remember you, and the man you want me to become. Each day I look to you for advice, and I am never displeased. You guided me when I was young, and I will never forget that.
Thank you very much, Michael. All right, so, Omar, are you ready to get up and read? Omar, let's give a warm round of applause. And how do you pronounce your last name? Quatlak. Quatlaqua. Omar Quatlaqua. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.
Hello, my name is Omar. I'm going to be reading a poem by the Brownings, Robert Browning. The gray sea and the long black land, and the yellow half-moon large and low, and the startled little waves that leap in fury, ringlets from their sleep. As I gain the cove with pushing prow, and quench its speed, I, the slushy sand. Then a mile of warm, sea-scented beach, 3 fields to cross till a farm appears. Atop at the pane, the quick, sharp scratch, and a blue spar of the lighted match, and the voice less loud through its joy and fears, than the 2 hearts beating each on each. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Omar. Kiara, would you like to read next? Let's give a warm round of applause for Kiara Valadares.
I'll be reading a poem by me. Roses are red, violets are blue. My love for you is far stronger than the love your ex had for you.
But you didn't care, so you threw it out. Roses and violets are sweeter than you, so thank you for letting me see the real you. Roses are red, violets are blue. You hurt me so many times I can't even count it. Although you hurt me, I still had your back. I have stayed there and kept it at that. Done trying to be a friend to you. Done trying to be a friend to you. Done trying to be a friend to you. Don't deserve my time or care for me. Tired of always trying to be true. Won't waste my time trying to make you see. So goodbye. I go away from you now. It's time to care about me.
Thank you, Kiara. All right, so Joseph, are you ready to read? Joseph Broom, ladies and gentlemen.
Alright, I made this poem by myself. It's mine, original. It's called Fortnite. Alright. Every day I wake up, I see children playing. But what? They're corrupt. Fortnite has been training. Their power is too strong, 9-year-olds going berserk. Their reign is too long, even grown men turn into jerks. It was fun at last. No, it was fun at first, but it gets old with time. Kids and men go in outburst, although shooting are crimes. With all my hatred aimed at Fortnite, its time has come for us to say goodbye.
All right, I do believe that was about a video game. Okay. All right, so Joseph, thank you very much for that. Amanda, would you like to read next? Let's give it up for Amanda Burgos.
Okay. Hello. All right. I'm reading The Mask, verse 4. If I dared leave this smile, she said, and take a moan upon my mouth, and tie a suppress around my head, and let my tears run smooth, it were the happier way, she said. And since that must not be, she said, I feign for your bitter, and world would leave. How calmly, smile the dead, who do not, therefore, grieve. The yeah of heaven is yeah, she said.
All right, thank you, Amanda. And I think this will be, our next reader will be Declan Coles from Xavier.
Hello. So unlike some of the other readers, this poem that I wrote, it's not inspired by one single Browning poem, but rather each stanza replicates the structure of an individual Robert Browning poem. Okay, it's called Wild Withered Blur. 1 second. Oh. Yeah, sure. You got it? Yeah. Okay. I remember that day. I saw her, perfect in every way, heart's wild blur, mustered up with shaking hands to her. Deep breaths, I said. Be cool, I said. Old Jim ne'er shined as it with her. Racing hearts filled my ears as I speak. Her smile left my knees weak. Cheering stands vanished, that's how it seems. Fell in Venus's dreams. Sloth creeps down the serpentine roam home. Talking, walking, my Helen of Troy. Yet still my heart knows that it is alone. Safe face for her, a heart's too coy. Tossing, turning, throughout the night. Oh, the silent truth makes me fright. Yet I crave her smile, the bright sheen off her hazel hair. I scour the sage men of history. Maybe the weaver's words, he said, were true. Trust heart or mind to keep loving her. Now I sit alone, unsure what to do. Finally clear! Her toxic grip not gone, clenching my marionette strong. I know it'll hurt, but I go, though wrong. As a spider, She weaves me her web. Sirens call me, running towards the ebb. Oh, please, I know that I am being used. More than a game, pure triviality. I know we aren't meant to be. I try to run, but the chains of the heart, stronger than Hephaestus's iron hand, an addict with tracks danced along a thin arm. I say no word. Stoic must be a man. Thank you.
All right, so thank you guys for reading. So typically what we like to do at this point in the program, and I just wanted to say this is by far the most students we've had out at any given time for one of our meetings, and can we give a round of applause for everybody coming out and sharing their poetry, original or just reading the works of Elizabeth and Robert. It's so nice to see all of you guys here today. That being said, I'm gonna try to do my best to organize this. So if we can we get all the students from Gramercy Arts High School to come and stand up for a second, and we get a photograph, and then also we can ask you guys a few questions about your experience. And then we'll do Xavier afterwards, because that's about as much space as we can do per chance. Yeah, if we could get a picture of all that'd be great. Very nice. Very nice. All right, guys. So you guys did a great job. Just want to go down and ask you guys a few questions, and also we can open it up to our members. So we had a couple of original poems. I guess we should start with, just because it's the last one. So Joseph, what inspired you with your poem Fortnight? If you could just speak as loud as you can.
What inspired me was I used to play Fortnite mostly every day, but then it got boring with time, and then I just started hating it because like it was doing everything other games were doing. So I just wanted to express my feelings on that.
And what are your feelings on that?
Like the community, like it's okay. The community with Fortnite's amazing, but I don't like the game in particular. Like it's not a game for me now.
Okay, and let's see here. What time do we have? 1:47. Okay. Now we had a couple of other original poems. We have any questions from the audience members or from our members in regards to any of these particular poems that just really stuck out? Gene? Okay. Sure. 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 Well, would you like to read the poem again, or would you like to have someone else read it? I could read it for you, but I'm sure it's in your handwriting, and I wouldn't be able to possibly. I can give it a shot. Here, you need the microphone. Let's do it one more time. And this time go slower and just enunciate every word. So this is an original poem by Joseph Broome entitled Fortnight.
All right. Every day I wake up, I see children playing. But what? They're corrupt. Fortnite has been training. Their power is too strong. 9-year-olds going berserk. Their reign is too long. Even grown men turning into jerks. It was fun at first, but it gets old with time. Kids and men go in outburst. All those shooting are crimes. With all my hatred, I aim it at Fortnite. Its time has come for us to say goodbye.
All right. Now, so I guess we could just go, just out of curiosity, Amanda, what inspired you to choose this poem, The Mask? If you can talk into them.
Yes. I chose this poem because I liked the first part of it, and it was like, what it says is, if I dare leave this smile, she said. Like, it's basically her saying that she's not really that happy. And she says, like, if she says, and let my tears run smooth, it were the happier way. Like, she'll be happier if she just lets everything go. So that, I don't know, it just caught my eye. So yeah.
Absolutely great. All right, so we'll just go straight down the list now. Fatu? Batu? I don't know why I have this written this way. Batu. Could you come here and just explain exactly why this is the poem that you selected was...
Both of them?
You had The Mask,
Yeah.
and then this is a poem, original poem by you.
Yes.
Okay, so this poem is entitled
Love.
Love. Could you give us another reading of that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is an original poem by Batu entitled Love.
I see red in your heart and cheek. I see sparkles in your eyes and sigh. I know I have met you before. You know too, and our hearts soar. Let's run away together and start our forever.
Now, that's beautiful. What inspired you to write this poem?
What inspired me is, you know, how you see someone the first time you see them. It's like you feel a connection. You feel a connection there, and it just triggers you. I didn't write this specifically about anybody. I'd say I'd write it for my mom, because she is the first person you see when you are born, and you can see that sparkle in her eye, and you just know that no matter what, she's always gonna be there by your side. No matter what, whether you're crying, you're sad, happy, she's always gonna be there to comfort you, make sure you're safe. And that's the one person that I can rely on, who I know will be there for the rest of my life, and she won't ever judge me. She'll always take my thoughts into consideration and help me out.
Right.
Really good.
All right, so who do we got next? Would you like to come up? Kiara, right? Kiara Valderas. Now, you read, this is an original poem by Kiara. Would you like to read it again? Slow, enunciate, and loud so that everyone can hear it one more time? It's okay.
Roses are red, violets are blue. My love for you is far stronger than the love your ex had for you. But you didn't care, so you threw it out. Roses and violets are sweeter than you, so thank you for letting me see the real you. Roses are red, violets are blue. You have hurt me so many times I can't even count it. Although you hurt me, I still had your back. I have stayed there and kept it at that. Done trying to be a friend to you. You don't deserve my time or care for me. Tired of always trying to be true. Won't waste my time trying to make you see. So goodbye. I go away from you now. It's time to care about me.
All right, thank you very much. Now, just out of curiosity, Kiara, what was your inspiration for writing this poem?
Well, like in my previous life, I've been taken advantage of a lot, and it's like it gets overwhelmed sometimes, and I can't really express my feelings to other people because I care about other people's feelings. I put people's feelings before mine, so it's like I worry about if I tell somebody how I feel, and I worry about like what they're going through before I tell people what I feel about. So it's like I just keep all my feelings inside. It's like it's the only way I could express it.
Does it feel better? Do you feel better to get it out? All right, thank you so much for coming to perform that. That was amazing. Thank you very much, Kiara. And poetry really is a form of therapy in a lot of ways. It's you can write, you can do anything you want, and no one will judge you. You just put it on the page, and it comes out in such an amazing fashion. We're seeing that today. Let's bring up, are you ready, Omar? Let's give a round of applause for Omar. Now, she okay? Okay. So, let's see here. You chose Meeting at Night from Robert Browning. What inspired you to pick this poem to read today?
Well, when I was first reading this poem, the thing that mostly caught my eye was a voice less loud through its joy and fear than the two hearts beating each in each. So I actually, I'm not sure for what reason. Like when reading this poem, like those two lines just like caught my attention, and I just really like the meaning of the poem about love.
Great. Well, thank you so much for sharing it. Would you like to read it one more time? Meeting at night.
The gray seas and the long black land, and the yellow half moon large and low, and the startled little waves that leap in fiery ringlets from their sleep as I gained the cove with pushing pro, and quenched its speed, I, the slushy sand. Then a mile of warm sea, scented beach, 3 fields to cross till a farm appears. Atop at a pane, the quick sharp screech, and blue sports of a light match. And the voiceless loud through its joy and fear, then the 2 hearts beating each and each.
Thank you very much.
James,
Yes.
I'd like to just say, as you think about that poem that you just read, so beautiful, think about the painted picture in your mind as you see this man coming across these 3 scented beaches and fields to meet his lover, and the anticipation. It's like a painting in front of our eyes, which Browning once said, I am putting more music and painting into my poetry. He wants you to conjure up this idea, this visual of beauty, of love, of coming together, of anticipation. And you just said it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Omar. So, let's see who we got next. I guess we go back to our first reader, Charlie. All right, Charlie. Now, you read this poem from Elizabeth Barrett Browning, How Do I Love Thee? Now, what was your inspiration to choose this poem to read today?
The poem by Elizabeth Barrett Browning, I chose it because, like, I want to find someone that I can feel this way with, and, you know, it's kind of hard, because people nowadays, they don't know how to act, apparently. So, when I read this poem, it kind of made me feel like it could happen, and I'm just waiting.
Would you like to read it one more time for us?
Sure.
Okay, right into the mic.
How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. I love thee to the depths and beds and height my soul can reach. When feeling out of sight for the ends of being an ideal grace, I love thee to the level of every day's most quiet need. By sun and candlelight, I love thee freely as men strive for right. I love thee purely as they turn from praise. I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. I love thee with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life. And if God chose, I shall love thee better after death.
All right, thank you very much. So there's still hope, remember. There's always hope. Okay, so I think we've gotten back to Sean. Would you like to come up for a second? All right, Sean. So you picked the poem. Let's see here. This is an original poem. This is an original poem entitled When Pompeii Was Destroyed. Would you like to read this one more time for us? Okay, so this is an original poem. And just right into the microphone, Sean.
Sorry. It was 79 BC when I lived in Pompeii, right before our great volcano had slept. I had moved from America, but in Italy I wanted to stay, until in the great Mount Vesuvius silence was not kept. It was an eruption like never before, lava and ashes pouring out when earth had made her great roar. The people ran for cover, for they feared it may be their last breath, while buildings toppled over to the great sound. But Vesuvius, she was strong, and to all had come death, until every person, building, and bit of nature was burnt to the ground. This eruption of all had made me most paranoid, the time when the great city of Pompeii was destroyed.
Thank you, Sean. Now, what was your inspiration for writing this poem?
Well, okay, should I have something over here?
What's that?
What inspired me was my favorite country in the world is Italy, And I also love studying history, so I just chose, especially ancient Rome and Pompeii. So I just go through all the events and causes that I knew of and changed them into metaphors and rhyming. So, yes, so that's what inspired me.
Great, thank you very much for your poem. And Robert Browning was also very inspired by Italy. He spent most of his life towards the end
Ask
towards
him a
there.
question.
Yes, absolutely, Gene.
How often have you been to Italy, and when were you first there, and when were you last?
Well, I've never actually been to Italy. I hope to be there, eventually live there. But I have had family who's gone to Italy.
Okay.
So soon, right? Saving up
Yes.
those pennies, I like it.
When you go to Italy, do the obvious, Rome,
Yes.
at least, if you're limited. And some people have a bucket list of all the places on earth they're going to go.
Yeah.
Other people say, I haven't been to Italy for 4 years. What's wrong with you? I haven't said, you get it? So I encourage you to nourish your Italy thing. It's unbelievable.
You'll get there soon, Sean. Thank you very much. All right, so Ginny, would you like to come up here and just tell us a little bit about the poem that you selected? Ginny Segura, ladies and gentlemen. So you picked The Mask. What inspired you to pick this poem?
When I first read the title, The Mask, mask means to be hiding something. And so when I read the line, and souls behind a smile, it felt like you're hiding what you truly feel behind something that's not real. So that's basically what inspired me to pick this poem.
And how did that make you feel? Do you feel sometimes that you are hiding behind a mask, or that other people are, or?
Sometimes, yeah.
Does that make you feel more comfortable, Or
Somewhat.
what resonated specifically with this poem that you particularly, that hit you personally? Any particular lines that stood out?
Yeah, I said it.
Would you like to read the poem one more time? Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Behind no prison grate, she said, which slurs the sunshine half a mile. Life captive so uncomforted, as souls behind a smile. God's pity let us pray, she said. I know my face is bright, she said. Such brightness dying suns diffuse, I bear upon my forehead shed. The sign of what I lose, the ending of my day, she said.
All right. Thank you very much, Jenny. Let's give a warm round of applause for all the kids from Gramercy Arts High School. Thank you so much for coming out. We're going to bring up the Xavier students now, and we would have brought them all up to, there's just only a limited amount of space. Thank you guys so much. And hang out, we'll have an opportunity to talk to you. All right, guys.
Jim,
Yes.
where are the Xavier girls?
Everyone wants to know about the Xavier girls. That's fun. Just the teacher. All right, so all three of you had an original poem. I really found was pretty interesting. I'd like to get you back up on the mic to do that as well. So Matthew, do you mind? First of all, these are the kids. This is Declan, Michael, and Matthew from Xavier High School. Thank you very much for coming out and reading your poetry. If we can get a picture of those guys as well, that'd be great. So Matthew, if you could join me on the microphone for a second. So your poem, what was the title?
Existential.
Existential, and this was based upon the Robert Browning poem.
Influenced by
Influenced by which particular Robert Browning poem?
Elizabeth Browning's Patience Taught by Nature.
Okay, so Patience Taught by Nature by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. What was it that really stood out to you? What really caught your eye that made you that you wanted to read this poem today?
Well, in particular, the Browning emphasis on naturalism kind of inspired me to write existential, just because personally that's something I do enjoy thinking about a lot.
Okay, and if we could have you read this poem, this time a little bit closer to the mic and slow,
Yes.
Enunciated. This is Existential by Matthew Dubois.
There were no clouds, just stars and galaxies that lit up the night sky, a mural of colors, faint blues, purples, and greens, swirled and floated together. The horizon was endless, pockmarked by plateaus and hills. The gray sand mixed with the dry desert shrubs. A lone road traveled through the land. One could feel the cold air rush past. The night's lights reveal the rising speedometer. 40, 50, 60, 70. The beautiful existential dread excites and terrifies. We can see the mountains of water crushing continents, stars as they explode in collapsed solar systems into beautiful balls of light. Here we drive, here we watch, a spectator, a witness to nature.
Thank you very much. Now, is this some of your own personal experiences, this 40, 50, 60? Are you driving now?
No.
Okay.
Just daydream.
Okay. Well, that was amazing. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. Let's go with Michael Petrosino, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you brought up a poem by
Robert Browning,
by
Life in a Love.
Life in a Love. Now, this poem, what really what did you get about this poem that inspired you?
It wasn't so much that it, the poem itself, when I read it, I just thought so much of my grandfather, and that's what inspired me for A Life Not Forgotten. Because the poem talks about, being bound to this other person, and, just like never wanting to leave them, and I just felt that same way about my grandfather.
Okay. And would you like to read this poem, A Life Not Forgotten, one more time for us?
I still see your face. I still see your soft face often. Still hear your smooth, cozy stories. Your advice still lingers strongly in my head. The wisdom you shared will never leave me. I still believe you were robbed from us too early. Still had time left to love each and every one of us. But then I see you there on that bed, lying with the grace that enriched our lives, and I accept that your time had to come. I will forever cherish the love that you gave us, forever remembering your loving smile. You care for us with so much love, deeds that we cannot imagine to repay, especially the ones too young to be able to. You are the model of the virtuous man for me. I cannot fathom there being a better person in this world, except those who have learned from you as well. Each day I remember you, and the man you want me to become. Each day I look to you for advice, and I've never displeased. You guided me when I was young, and I will never forget that.
Thank you so much, Michael. I appreciate that. Excellent. So now we have one more student, Declan Coles. Now, Declan, you said that you modeled. Can you explain how you wrote this poem again?
Yeah, so, usually, if I write poetry, it'd be free verse, but I decided to take each one of my 10 stanzas and base each stanza off of a Robert Browning poem. So the first one is a woman's last word. So
can you go through I didn't realize. So every stanza is actually
Different poem.
based upon a different poem by Robert Browning.
yeah, so it's one continuous narrative,
Yeah.
but each one is...
So what are the 10 poems? Can you just list out the 10 poems?
A Woman's Last Word, Pretty Woman, After, Evelyn Hope, Holy Cross Day, Pan and Luna, My Star, The Beginning is Next, and O Lyric Love. Oh, and The Salvation of the Eternal Place.
All right, so you put a lot of thought. So each 4 lines have a direct, now are they a direct reference to the poem?
No, purely in structure and rhyme scheme.
Oh, so you picked each stanza specifically based upon the rhyme scheme and structure of the particular Browning poem that you're referencing?
Yes, yeah.
So that's why there's such a differential between the...
Yeah, that's why.
Okay. This is really quite interesting to see.
I would love to make a copy of this, but each stanza is completely different, but it's also one narrative based upon a Robert Browning poem. That's pretty neat, right? So, yeah, we would love to have an extra copy.
Maybe never have been done before.
Yeah, I don't think that's been done before. This is something completely new. I like it. So this poem is entitled Wild Withered Blur by Declan Coles. Would you like to read this poem for us one more time?
Sure, thank you.
Just slow, enunciate into the mic.
I remember that day. I saw her, perfect in every way, heart's wild blur. Mustered up with shaking hands to her. Deep breaths, I said. Be cool, I said. Old school Jim ne'er shine as with her. Racing hearts filled my ears as I speak. Her smile left my knees weak. Cheering stands vanished, that's how it seemed. Fell in Venus's dreams. Sloth creeps down the serpentine road home. Talking, walking, my Helen of Troy. Yet still my heart knows it is alone. Save face for her, a heart's too coy. Tossing, turning throughout the night. Oh, the silent truth makes me fright. Yet I crave her smile, so fair. The bright sheen off her hazel hair. I scour the sage men of history. Maybe the weaver's speech, he said, were true. Trust heart or mind to keep loving her. Now I sit alone, unsure what to do. Finally clear. Her toxic grip not gone. Clenching my marionette strong. I know it'll hurt, but I go, though wrong. As a spider she weaves me her web. Sirens call me, running towards the ebb. Oh please, I know that I am being used. More of a game. Pure triviality. I know we aren't meant to be. I try to run. But the chains of the heart, stronger than Hephaestus' iron hand. An addict with tracks danced along a thin arm. I say no words. Stoic must be a man.
Now, what was your inspiration specifically for this narrative?
Well, as indicated by the title, like Wild Withered Blur. So the wild blur, it's like when you first like have a crush on someone,
Okay.
but then it turns out to be like a flash in the pan.
Okay.
So it was withered. Yeah. So and it's just like the experience of the narrator going from like first seeing this this person and then how it has evolved into like realizing that he is being used.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and how you ended it was you were comparing, I suppose, to a drug addict?
Yeah, a drug addict.
And
Yeah.
now is that in reference to the feelings that the person was had towards that individual to let him be used was because he had that addictive?
Yeah, he was addicted to like sort of the feeling that just being with this girl makes him, even though he knows that nothing will happen. Like he will not receive what, I don't know if I'm explaining it right, but he won't receive the same sort of love.
So that was actually very similar to your poem, right? With about being used, the roses are red, the violets are blue. No. But so that seems to be a common feeling that and also, well, and what you specifically referenced was that you had read that poem of How Do I Love Thee, Let Me Count the Ways, and we're hoping that that you would be able to see that, because nowadays you said that people do not act right. So this is something that I can feel a little bit a theme in a lot of these poems, is that a connection, that people are having a hard time connecting with other people on some sort of level. Maybe that's because of technology, maybe that's because of the social messaging, I don't know, the elements of it, but the fact of the matter is that you kind of broke through and communicated your own feelings through the poem, which is kind of a first step, I guess. If you don't have any other humans, you can go back and read the dead ones, and they can talk to you, And you can find a lot of inspiration from that. And I'm really inspired by the fact that you guys are writing, and you should continue to write,
because that is you alone with yourself, and that's so important. I totally missed one of our readers from Gramercy Arts in the last, and she actually had Ariel had an original poem. Can we get you back up here, Ariel? We need to get you to do one more original. Let's give a round of applause for Declan. This is Ariel Everett. We missed her the first time. So you had an original poem as well, and your title was called Dead. Okay. Can you read that for us as well? Death.
Death, yeah.
Okay.
In the dark, a girl cries and no one hears. She screams and cries and bleeds all over. Lines on her arm come more and more, not healing but helping. Death crosses her mind. She wonders if she dies, what will happen, if she will be missed. No, she said, I will not. More and more lines appear. Her phone is blowing up. People in her school are telling her to go kill herself. No one likes you, or that you smell bad. The kids are making her feel like she's nothing.
Now, just out of curiosity, thank you very much for that poem. That seems to be along the same theme. Now, is this something personally that you see every day? Like in this it's, I guess, would be considered like a bullying situation? Where,
Yeah.
Now, is that something that kind of happens all the time? Or
Well, I have a friend
yeah.
that is like, people are calling her fat, and she doesn't feel like she doesn't feel like herself. She has to be a certain person around people. And the same thing happened with my little sister. She was 12. She was being bullied at school, but she didn't get the chance to kill herself because she had an asthma attack, and the asthma killed her. So the bullying part got her even more worse with the asthma, so it didn't make it any better.
Now, just out of curiosity, the title of the poem is Death.
Yeah.
Now, is that like your first go-to sort of solution in this kind of situation?
For me, it kind of is, because I suffer from depression, so for me it kind of is, but I don't know for other people.
Well, I will have to say this: don't keep writing poetry and stay with us. It's gonna get better, I promise. It's gonna get better. And I want to say, wow, this has just been so amazing having everybody come out and like share these really raw emotions. That takes a lot of courage. And that was an excellent poem. Thank you so much, Ariel. So what have we learned today? What have we come together and realized today is that when humans get together and talk, that we can see all sorts of different perspectives and angles. And if poetry brings us to that point, then we're doing something really good. Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything.
Okay.
James,
Yes.
I don't want to throw off the agenda, but
There's
just,
no agenda.
I'd be interested in any of the poets and poetesses, if they would volunteer and just talk about the influence of reading the Browning's poems might have had on them. How were they surprised? How were they impressed? Maybe did they seem dated? But I'd like to, both Elizabeth and Robert Browning, two of the greatest poets of the 19th century, here we are, a couple of hundred years later, and we're still talking about them. What was it that touched these students, or changed their opinion, or surprised them, or devastated them? I don't know.
Well, it seemed, I don't know, a lot of the poems that you guys picked from either Elizabeth or Robert, they tended to deal with love. And an undying sense of a greater love out there. And was that really kind of the connection that you guys, that you had to a lot of these poems? I mean, feel free, what was your connection to? You can get up, you can say it as loud as you want.
Free form.
Yeah, absolutely.
The poem that I read was called The Mask. What really got me to read that poem was the title itself, because I feel like in love we all wear a mask. We all have a side of us that we don't want to show our partner because we're afraid that they might judge or neglect us for it. And not just in love, but in life itself, we all decide to be a different person around other people. And act a certain way just so that we don't get judged by our own society. So that's what triggered me.
Now, would you consider, so the love that you witnessed in the poem, is that the same kind of love that you have an idea or have experienced? Or is it something different?
The love in the poem. I feel like, yes, it is. Not something I've experienced, but something I have seen with my friends. Basically, in the poem, it's talking about how like she can't be herself around her lover, and she wants to tell that person exactly how she feels, but she feels like the person is putting it into different words, so she's not really being heard. I feel like our society itself, they take our words and alter it into ways that they want to hear it, not the way that we have said it. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
So to me, love is like a really strong thing, and people somehow like they take that for granted, and they will use people and use the love that they have for them to get what they want, and it isn't right. And not from my play, but from other people's plays, like plays. I'm sorry, poems. I'm sorry. Like Kiara's, like her poem. It made me feel some type of way because I've also been hurt and neglected a lot of times. But for me, yeah, love, it can hurt, but then it can teach you things, and you can get over it, and you can start new and know what to expect next time. So, yeah.
Thank you.
Any more thoughts? I think that a lot of you guys are on the same level on a lot of these things, and I guess this is just a part of life at this point, this juncture. And trust me, I just got married, so there's still hope for love. It only took 38 years, so
And James, the Brownings were the great love affair of the 19th century.
That's absolutely
It
correct.
was. She was a leader in women's rights, first part of the 19th century, and he was. Love was at the center of both of their cores, and then the love between these two great poets became the talk of the.
Well, and that's the reason why this society has been going on continuously since 1907. This is the longest continuous literary society in New York City, and it's based upon that great love between two poets of Robert and Elizabeth Barrett Browning. If it wasn't for that love, we wouldn't be coming here every month. So it is something that you can look to, and especially within Elizabeth's works. And Robert's are a little bit more cerebral, but you definitely get that same sense there, that love is worthwhile, and it is worth continuing to believe in. And it will get better, and you will find everything you're looking for. Just keep believing in it. And if you need some inspiration, always go back to the Brownings, because they will show you that great pattern. I mean, the fact that he even wrote a poem where every stanza was based on a different poet, that's just blew my mind. Stephen?
James, could I recite briefly now?
Stephen, come up.
No, this is
Okay.
fine here. This is, to me, the greatest love poem I've ever heard, and it was written by Robert Browning. It's called Now. Out of your whole life, give but a moment. All of your life that has gone before, all to come after it, so you ignore, so you make perfect the present. Condense in a rapture of rage for perfection's endowment, thought and feeling and soul and sense, merged in a moment that gives me at last you around me for once, you above me, beneath me, me sure that despite of time future, time past, this tick of our lifetimes, one moment you love me. How long such suspension may linger are sweet, the moment eternal, just that and no more. When ecstasy's utmost we clutch at the core, while cheeks burn, arms open, eyes shut, and lips meet.
Stephen Downey, ladies and gentlemen, President Emeritus of the Society. Now, Now, did any of our members have any thoughts about the reading, or any of these young inspired students coming out? Herb, what was your impression?
Just amazed by it. It was beautiful to listen to, and there were so many different approaches, as one might expect, from so many people. But I guess navigating the teenage years and preparing for adulthood and wondering what that's going to be like, and will I be able to manage that, then you look immediately on, how are my relationships and my love relationships, and can I trust people? And one of the key ideas in Browning is trust.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that's your connection. But poetry is a wonderful way to get on top of just the superficial things that we see, and investigate them and express them. It's beautiful to hear, and so I'm so glad you shared your poems with us and your thoughts as well.
Yes, thank you very much, guys. Like, you have no idea. This is such an amazing opportunity because I have no idea what's going on in the teenage world at all. And I'm crying inside. I'm not allowed to officially do that in front of the podium, but you guys touched me significantly because I had no idea some of these things that you guys are going through. And I really want you to know that it does get better. And the one thing that will help you is reading and writing poetry. Because when things are kind of their darkest times, if you kind of put that on the paper or find something that addresses that, it helps release that so you don't have it bottled up inside you and it kind of eats away. You need to get that toxicity out of, that negativity out of your body somehow. And poetry is a great way to do that, and you can really sort of learn from yourself by putting everything out on paper and saying, oh, I didn't know that was there, and it's kind of your self-therapy a lot of the time. But thank you very much. Thanks for Jill from Gramercy Arts High School. Thank you for Margaret Gonzalez for bringing you guys out here. We have some coffee, some tea. We can have some conversation as well. And hopefully we can do again this next year as well. That sounds like a lot of fun. So let's give a round of applause for everybody for coming out. I just want to let everybody know that next month we have Robert Kramer, who's going to be doing a lecture, correct? Okay, so that's good. I like that confirmation. So we'll be meeting here next month and at 1 p.m. same time. We look forward for everyone coming out. Once again, thank you guys for coming out and having that courage to share with us your real emotions. It took a lot of effort. Thank you very much.
Are they invited to other